Abia Albertine, who's going to explain our return to sport. Yes, it's been such a long layoff for amateur sport in South Africa. However, the sports department and the various federations and sporting institutes around South Africa have agreed on a return to sport in South Africa. Amateur sport, that is. So it's going to be quite exciting times. Then we're going to chat to Suleiman Moden. He's going to tell us more about Australia cancelling their tour to South Africa. Well, were the Aussies scared? Or were the general concerns over COVID-19 and the strain that is claimed to be going around in South Africa? Later on, we're going to chat to our favorite motoring journalist, Adam Ford. He's going to tell us why cars in South Africa is so expensive. I mean, this is something that should be chatted about, spoken about in public more often. I mean, compare the prices across the globe to South Africa. There is a vast difference. Yes, there is manufacturers in South Africa, more your coastal areas, but the prices are still sky high in South Africa compared to the rest of the world. It's going to be a jam-packed show. It's going to be action-packed. You don't want to miss a single moment of the show. We're going to be back after the break, and I'm going to be chatting to Selaelo about everything that's happening in the world of football.
Salam Media, a global voice for humanity.
Discover the Africa of your dreams and surround yourself with her spectacular beauty. Relax beneath her serene sunsets and explore wildlife at its natural best. It's where the pride of Africa comes together. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve. Get to know the Big Five or cruise on an elephant safari game drive. Interact with lion and tiger cubs and enjoy world-class halal cuisine while we pamper you during your 5-star stay. Indulge in the true African experience. For reservations, call now on 042-203-1400 or visit kwantu.co.za. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve, the place of gathering.
Listen to something fresh. Listen to Salam Media, your humanitarian broadcaster.
A strip of land with...
Welcome back to Salam Media. It's 7:20, and I'm joined in studio by none other than our producer and one of our favorite sports journalists, Loki. He's one of the best journalists around. He just prefers to put the content together. Selaelo, thanks for leaving the back of the studio and coming to actually join me behind the mic.
Hello. Beautiful Friday, nice and warm. Had a bit of sun today.
No, definitely. Yeah. You've been out on the streets covering a whole lot of stories. Some of them not sports related, but it's going to be quite interesting to see what the Salam Media community has to say about it once it's released.
Yeah. Something big for people to look forward to. I'm not going to say much now, but I think once it's launched, it'll be on everyone's phones and everyone's social media and just invading their space. But it's something that everyone will enjoy. I can guarantee you that.
Well, talking about social media, we do know that Coach Pitso Mutsamane has been making headlines all over the world. I mean, from Mamelodi Sundowns to finishing third at the FIFA Club World Cup.
Can we say from Mamelodi Sundowns to the world?
Well, he's just reintroduced himself.
Yeah. I think Pitso's story is just continuing to be a really inspirational one, especially for, football lovers, football followers, aspiring coaches coaching in the South African, footballing scene, because I don't think for the longest time or ever in South African history you've had a coach who's been at that pedestal or that level in international football. And I think he's doing really amazing things. He might have finished third Club World Cup. Unfortunately, his team got knocked out by Bayern Munich. But I think competing and rubbing shoulders with clubs like Bayern Munich and other champions from across the different continents across the world, it says a lot. It says South African people, are also part of the large footballing community. And soon enough, we hope and pray, because of Pitso's endeavors and his successes across the continent and the world, our coaches will also be recognized as potential candidates to manage some of the biggest teams in Africa and across the world.
No, definitely. It's quite interesting to see how things have played out for him. He's been in touch with the journalists back in South Africa all week, and I mean that was quite amazing. Sending them jerseys, being in contact with a lot of the journalists back home, not forgetting exactly where the base of his support comes from. And I think that's important for a lot of South Africans, that when they go over, they stay in touch with the footballing and the sports community back home, so that we can build a network of support.
That's one thing about South Africans, eh? Before I don't mind if it doesn't really matter if you're a soccer player, coach, or whatever sporting code that you're in. Once you step out of that flight, naturally we'll tell you that you're there to represent the country. You're there to fly the flag, as we always say. And Pitso's been tremendous, man. I think we are all happy for him, and he's also keeping in contact with his South African connections. And I also I think for the mere fact that when he was actually called up to go to Egypt, he took some people, I think it was Calvin Johnson that he took to go be his assistant in Egypt. There are talks that there are some players that he wants to come and sign to Al Ahly. So that's good. It bodes as well for our football. And kind of, because I think for the longest time, South African coaches and footballers have been so comfortable, in playing and just coaching in the South African league, and not really branching out to Africa, first of all, because I think to be first recognized internationally, you need to conquer the continent. And that's what Pitso has done so well, with Sundowns. Yeah, I mean,
and now looking to do the same
with Al Ahly. Yeah, so he first garnered respect in his continent. Yeah, and I think this is an example for other coaches, players. Don't look down on African leagues. They're huge. If you can go to like Morocco, the likes of Casablanca, you go to West Africa,
some massive teams out there.
Huge, the likes of TP Mazembe,
Zambian legends.
Huge.
Yeah.
So I mean, realistically speaking, majority of European players that are African started there. We don't see a huge number of South African players playing in the European leagues. It's always the West Africans or the North Africans.
Correct.
So it says a lot. It says we need to kind of look at ourselves and say, hey, we might have the most professionally ran league in the world, but there's something missing.
Yeah, certainly. And talking about players going overseas, South Africa's favorite player,
the Lion of Judah, surpass.
They're up against Aston Villa tomorrow. I mean, it's been quite phenomenal seeing what's been happening in the EPL this season. Liverpool, hot and cold,
blowing hot and cold. I think it's becoming a really difficult season. I'll just start with Liverpool, because I know there are a lot of Liverpool fans listening. I think it's a difficult season for them. I think the injuries in the squad have like really took the momentum out. I think starting with Van Dijk, obviously the spine of their defense, it kind of like threw them off a bit. But someone might argue that Liverpool, you're a big team, and each and every player that you sign, you're saying this is the best that we can get, and this player deserves to don the famous red jersey of Liverpool, and they should get the job done. If you play for a team as huge as Liverpool, doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter how long you've been on the bench or who's been playing before you. You're signed for a reason, and you should produce the results. And maybe what are your thoughts on their ambitions to win the league?
Look, it's not that bad after all. It's not doom and gloom like the world makes it seem. I think that the past 3-4 seasons, Liverpool have set such a standard that everybody expects nothing
Yeah.
less than victory from them.
Exactly.
And now suddenly they start losing a game or two, and everybody thinks their season's over. If you look at the log currently, you've got Man City sitting on 50 points,
Yeah.
and Liverpool sitting on 40. And I mean, we just passed the halfway mark in the season, and we do know that anything is possible,
Yeah.
especially with the way the league has turned on its head quite a few times
Yeah.
this season. I mean, this is the first time ever in the Premier League that we had this many teams at the top of the table.
So many candidates to win the league, and it has been a really unpredictable league. There was
Yeah.
a point where we thought Everton was going to win the league. There was a point where we thought Tottenham was going to win the league.
Even Arsenal, for that
Even
matter.
Arsenal,
And I mean,
in the first few games.
yes, just
you
a
know,
dip in form, and suddenly they're sitting on 11. So I mean,
it's so simple. You draw 2 games, lose 1, or lose 2 in succession. You basically, in the out of the race, or the next guys are like breathing down your neck.
yeah.
So it's it might not be all doom and gloom, but I think soon enough they should start producing the results. And then coming to Brighton, I think they're picking up nicely. I saw the game last week. I think it was the FA Cup. Percy Dow, our very own, played. I think he's easing nicely into the team, getting used to their style of play. I think he's a player that prefers the tiki-taka kind of football, attacking with flair, 1-2, getting into the box. And I don't think Brighton necessarily plays that kind of football because, considering the club that they are in the English Premier League and, the kind of players they have, they are more of like a sit-back, counter-attacking team. And it's a bit weird for a player like Percy Tau, who's used to like taking on players playing that quick 1-2 football. I think we've seen him in the national team. How he links up with the likes of Zwane and Keegan Dolly. It's beautiful to watch. But now
So if you're looking and you're talking like that, I mean, Bright, that's the type of football that Brighton plays. Do you see Percy Tau making a move to a team like Arsenal, for example, that plays that kind of football that you like, or a team like Barcelona, for that matter, that plays football that suits his style of play? Do you think that it could happen in the near future?
Definitely. In the near future, we hope that could be, something that might happen for him. But for now, I think he just needs to work a bit harder, adapt. I think one thing that makes a great player, and, this is one thing that, the Messi versus Cristiano Ronaldo debate always boils down to. People say, Cristiano Ronaldo has been to so many leagues across the world, conquered them all because he adapted to the style of football. Unlike, Messi, who stayed only in La Liga for all his career. So
Yes.
I think that's one of the marks of a great footballer. The likes of Ibrahimovic also, going to this different leagues and adapting and making sure that you're still the main man, still the main oak.
It just shows the class that these players have.
Exactly.
I mean, look, that's the nature of the game for you these days. I mean, we're long past the days of having loyalty to one club and things like that, because players see this as a job.
Yeah.
And I mean, so should the rest of the public. I mean, it's been a phenomenal season thus far. Any expectations that you have
Expectations
for this season? I mean,
expectations. It's not a secret. I'm a Man City fan, but as much as I want us to win the league this season, I'm really happy for Man United. I think it's been a while since we've seen a Man United challenge for the honors. They're playing really good football. I think they've got their rhythm. They've got the combinations, coming in. I think Bruno Fernandes is doing really well. Paul Pogba is back. He's slowly getting into, being the old Paul Pogba that we all know and love. So yeah, I'm excited to seeing, the Red Devils, being the Man United that, we've been accustomed to see over the years.
Well, that's what you get if you have AMA 2000 supporting Man City. I mean, one would say that it's the biggest city rivals, Manchester United and Manchester City. And here he is out here rooting for the opposition. That is very strange.
It's good for football. I mean, I think with what's currently also happening in the South African League, I'm a Buccaneer of note. And trust me when I say I get sad seeing Kaizer Chiefs, playing the way that they are, as much as, they're the noisy neighbors and, the derby day comes and we're like the biggest rivals. It's good for football, when you see, the 2 or 3 biggest clubs in the land competing for the league. It's more entertaining, for our spectators. So yeah, same thing with Man United. It's time now that they get back to being top 14.
Certainly, bringing it back to local football, we've got Bloemfontein Celtic that takes on Chipper United tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock. That's going to be quite a great battle. We will see Bloem Celtic look to climb steadily up the table. Then we've got SuperSport United taking on Cape Town City at
doing
5
so well.
o'clock.
You must just mention that SuperSport, Bradley Grobler, they're doing so well. I think for the longest time, Bradley Grobler has just been that one player that's always been in the outskirts, but he's so consistently. I mean, I think just recently just broke the record for being the player that scored the most goals for SuperSport United. I think he's approached 50 goals or approaching 100. I'm not really sure.
Speaking on the correction, but I mean, still a massive feat for a guy like Bradley Grobler.
Huge.
Then moving on to Sunday, we've got Morocco Swallows that take on Amazulu. The Dube Birds will be looking to fly high.
Brilliant.
You're going to see Benny McCarthy come to Gauteng and try to snatch a victory away from Swallows, who are flying high at the moment. And they currently sitting fourth on the table on 28 points. I mean, just 5 points behind.
Another record for them, for Swallows. This is the first time in the PSL era where a team or a club that was playing in the second division the previous season, on the second round of the league, they've accumulated the number of points that they have. So they're doing really, really well.
Look, I mean, they're tied on 28 points with second, which is SuperSport United.
Yeah.
And Amazulu's looking to climb up there, but the slow start to the season might just work against them, with Swallows looking to get closer and closer to Mamelodi Sundowns. Swallows do have a game in hand, and this could possibly put them in a good position to be contenders for the league, if you want to call it that. Well, you'll have to wait
until
until
Sundowns has anything to do with it.
Certainly, we'll have to wait till Sunday to see that. Then midweek we'll have Sundowns to take on Baroka, and that could possibly see if Swallows will be inching closer to contesting for the title. But now it's 33 minutes past 7. I want to thank Selaelo for standing in and chatting some football to us this evening. What an amazing thing it is to have a producer and a journal all in one. Step in whenever it's needed. 33 minutes past 7. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to chat to Rabia Albertine, a sports scientist, who will be telling us more about how teams should approach their return to play, with the government and our local football federations and unions giving us the go-ahead to return to sport.
Listen to something fresh.